Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly rundown where we talk movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. I'm Mike. He's Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us this week on the Media Boat Podcast. Today is November the 4th, 2025. This is episode 511. And yeah, we'll get right into it.
Yeah, there's no comment on 511 number.
Now, you can't do anything fun with 511. There's it's just a number.
It's just another prime number thrown onto the fire.
We're burning the numbers now?
Well, it's prime, so it's
Yeah,
very rare that we're getting very high enough to where it's rare that we hit prime numbers again.
I
All right.
guess so.
So,
You're right.
well, yeah, enough about numbers. Let's get into the music section. Start the music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is still The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift. Waiting for that fate to come. At number two, Golden by Huntrix, The Various Artists. At three is Ordinary by Alex Warren. Coming in at four, or rather dropping to number four, is Opal Light by Taylor Swift. And rounding out your top five, Man, I Need by Olivia Dean.
Yep.
Although I'm probably emphasizing that wrong, it's probably Man I Need, or Man I Need, or
At least one
Man
of those.
I Need.
Man, I need.
Man, I just need. Did I leave that rhyme correct? Did I leave that rhyme? Did I read that line? Did I
Did
read
you
the
lead
rhyme?
that Rhine? Is that what you
Yes. Am I
said?
leading that Liam Rhymes? Did you want me to redo it?
Uh, we clearly need to just keep going because I don't know what headspace your brain is at, but
I'm in this audition, just reading the same three words over and over again,
guess so.
different enunciations. All right, well, let's go to the Billboard 200 Your Albums chart with,
Sure.
of course, number one, The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. And then, of course, at number two, K-Pop Demon Hunters, the soundtrack by various artists. Then, of course, at number three, the problem child himself, Morgan Wallen. Then, of course, still at five is Man's Best Friend, Sabrina Carpenter. But there's a new album coming up here, coming in at four, Son of Spurgy by Daniel Caesar.
Who's Spurgy?
The combination of Sprouts and Fergie.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Just want to note, by the way, that is one full month of Life of a Showgirl at number one.
we did it. We hit a month.
It hit a full month at number one.
Has it
So
been that long?
congratulations.
I mean,
Yeah.
the only one vying for that crown is the animated K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah. Well,
All right. If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases,
yep.
starting with Mercy by Arm& Hammer and Alchemist, Stardust by Danny Brown, Last Night on Earth by Finger 11. Yes, that Finger 11.
Yeah. Haven't heard that name in a long time.
Licorice by Hachi, Sad and Beautiful World by Mavis Staples, Shish by Portugal, the man. Yes,
Yeah.
that Portugal, the man. Lux by Rosalia. Cosplay in all caps by Sorry.
Sorry.
Love and Fortune by Stella Donnelly. Daylight Daylight by Steve Gunn. Through This Fire Across from Peter Balkan by the Mountain Goats. And lastly, Small Talk by Whitney. All right. Well, let's get to the news. And, since Taylor Swift is top of the Billboard, the Hot 100, top of the Billboard, the Hot 200. Might as well be, top of everyone's minds,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to donations. As Taylor
Hmm.
Swift fans are putting their mobilizing skills to work to support those in need. Because if you haven't heard, there's currently government interference, is the best way to put it, to those affected by the SNAP cutoff, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Yeah.
Well, the Swifty Coalition, aka known as the Swifties for Hope, on Twitter tweeted out on Friday that fans are encouraged to donate the lucky number $13 or $19.89 or whatever they can afford to support those affected by the potential cuts from SNAP, alongside an image with text referencing Swift's The Life of a Showgirl song, Father Figure. The account wrote in the caption, quote, Swifties, we're fundraising for Feeding America to help support food banks nationwide. Tomorrow, SNAP benefits will halt to the 42 million Americans who rely on them will need help. Close quote. And last
Yeah.
I checked, the SNAP benefits, despite a court order, are still
Hmm.
being held up and not released.
Yeah. If as you can see, it was a little bit of a slow music week. It's a big political week, however, due to the shutdown ongoing and also this unfortunate news about the SNAP benefits, as well as several areas are voting today. You can see my sticker if you're watching the video version here that I have voted today. Hope you have as well. Well, I didn't actually vote for today. I voted early, but I just put the sticker on myself today. Anyway, yeah, if you're in a location where there is an election, please do vote. It does affect you, believe it or not. But again, one of the ways that it does
Of
affect you in
course,
your
vote in the
community,
next election because by the time you listen to this, you
also,
can't vote in this current one.
well, actually, if you're listening to this live, you can. Well, we're not live, but I don't know. Anyways, poll places might, depending on which coast you're on, poll places might not be closed by the time this podcast goes live. Just saying. Anyways, but yeah, it does. It's an unfortunate moment. It's an unfortunate time, especially for people who rely on SNAP benefits. So it's cool to see people of all kinds trying to pitch in and support food banks and support their community where they can. I know we talk a lot about fan culture and kind of the darker side of fan culture, how rabid and angry people can get on the internet, especially about their favorite celebrities. But here's an example of when that mobilization is a positive. It's cool to see people who love Taylor Swift caring for their community in this way and getting more people to join them in that cause on the back of their united fandom for Taylor Swift. It's a cool use of that kind of power and that kind of platform. And yeah, there needs to be more of it.
All right, can I bot in and potentially ruin all this happy, joy-go-lucky
Now, why would you
story that
want
you
to
have?
do that?
Why do I want to do that? Because Billie Eilish told me to do that. Because Billie Eilish donated her own money to help SNAP benefits, and Taylor
Yeah.
Swift herself has not come out and said anything. That's
Well,
why the story is about the Taylor Swift
yes. I
fans
mean, that
donating.
is fair, but also we don't know. Just because she hasn't made an out like a statement about it does not necessarily mean she hasn't donated herself. We don't know. And honestly, it's kind of none of our business. I think that's kind of where we have to draw a line sometimes. Is like, yeah, it would be great if she's doing that stuff, but if we don't know if she does, then I feel hesitant to judge her for something that she may be doing just in the secret or in silence. Yes, it would be best if she stood up and said something about that. Which is also an interesting topic of conversation this week with Celebrity after an interview with Jennifer Lawrence, in which she said she feels a little eh these days about saying her opinion out loud on interviews and such because her reasoning is she doesn't want to possibly keep people who disagree with her from seeing the things she makes that also have values that she believes in. I'm still not sure how I feel about that, but there's a little bit of a point there, which is like these celebrities are starting to think about the kind of impact they have when they're making statements like that. It's always been a very dangerous art. I mean, Taylor's own journey with this has been chronicled in the Miss Americana documentary, in which her very own team was basically telling her, well, you can't say anything like that. You're going to alienate half your audience. And she was like, well, F that. I'm going to do it. So you don't know. Also, there's the other layer here is like who's potentially telling her not to say something like that. It's so many layers. There's so many different moving parts in the job of being a celebrity and having a platform that we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that people who do have the power, like do have some power, are using that little power that they do have with the platform that they have, social media wise, with the help of being united by the love of Taylor Swift. So let's praise what we see right here in front of our eyes. That we see the truth here, something that's actually happening, because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Right, but we do know that Billie Eilish, in a recent interview,
Yeah,
called out billionaires for not helping out.
that's
And
true.
the Swifties took that as a shot at Taylor Swift because she is a billionaire
Well,
on
I
paper
thought it
money
was more of a shot at
assets.
the billionaires in that room that she was
Oh,
speaking,
yes, that
including Mark
too.
Zuckerberg.
Yes,
I
yes,
did
that's
not
what the
read that
actual
as
shot was, not at Taylor
yeah.
Swift, but the
I
Swifties
didn't
who always see the feud between Billie and Taylor have just want to take
yeah.
this and run with it, and they're putting their Swifty coalition power
Yeah.
to good use here in benefit
Again,
of the Feeding America platform.
totally fair and totally valid for them to do so, but not the story reporting on. Like, I see what you're trying to say, and I mean, that is true, but I just want to talk about the good news of this and like that this should be this is a good example of a way to use fandom for good.
All
That's
right.
all.
Well, let's use our fandom for good and listen to albums. Have you listened to anything?
No, I know that new Florence and the Machine record is out, but I did not give a chance to get to it. I had a few other things that were I listened to first, but they're not really of note to talk about here on the podcast. My time was taken up with other things that I'll get to later.
I have not listened to anything new because I'm trying to curate my 5 albums for end of the year lists.
Time is running out.
Yep, but you can't really listen to an album on double speed, can you?
No, I don't recommend it. It's not the way they're meant to be heard.
No, you can't play video games on double speed either, which is where we're going to go to next.
No.
And we start games with new releases, including Enigma, Gate of Memories 1 and 2 remastered for the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. We also have Siberia remastered for the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Unbeatable for the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X.
Yes, I will be playing that. I will talk about that next week. I backed the Patreon like 5 years ago, and I'm finally going to get my copy when it comes out proper, or my code to obtain my Steam copy. So yeah, I paid for it literally half a decade ago, and I'm finally going to be able to play that game in its full finalized form, and I'll be able to talk about it next week.
We also have Surviving Mars, relaunched for the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, as well as Football Manager 26. This is soccer
Yeah,
football manager, not American football
right.
manager.
Yes.
For the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Xbox One. What?
Sure.
Backwards
Why not?
compatible. We also have Satisfactory for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Let's see. 2026 for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch. Europa Universalis 5. V5. It's 5 for the PC. We also have Sonic Rumble for the PC. That's the MOBA game. It's also out on mobile as well. I plan on playing this. I saw it downloaded today to my phone because I pre-registered, but did not have a chance to play it yet. So I'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
assuming I play it. If it's on my phone, I have to like play it eventually. And lastly, your big release of the week, mini big, is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yep.
Mini big because there's a very small audience for those who do like Hyrule and those who like Dynasty Warriors. And I guess there's enough for this because this is a sequel. Hyrule
I mean,
Warriors, the
yeah.
second one.
People seem to like that last one, at least people who are already kind of into the Muso genre, the Dynasty Warriors genre, if you will. Yeah, seems like reviews hit today, and most of them were pretty positive. Again, assuming that you like that kind of thing. I hate to couch it in that, but for Dynasty Warriors, there is a very specific person who is rabid for that kind of like beat up 100 people in a crowd kind of combat, and this
Mhm.
is that. So if that sounds appealing to you, check this out.
If that doesn't sound appealing to you and you're like on a complete opposite side of that spectrum,
Uh-huh.
boy, do I have news for you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Animal Crossing, New Horizons. The game that came out in 2020?
Yeah. Speaking of 5 years ago.
Yep. Well, it's going to be getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition that
Yep.
was recently announced. The Switch 2 edition of the game will be coming in January 15th, 2026, alongside a significant free update to the base game for those who are still playing it on the original Switch. This free update will include, among other additions, new collaboration content from the likes of Lego and playable retro Nintendo games. According to Nintendo, the Switch 2 edition will include, quote, enhanced resolution,
Ooh.
mouse controls for the Joy-Con 2 controllers, expanded online play, and more features exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. Close
Yeah.
quote.
The cool part about this is that most of the new stuff is being added in the free update and not just in the Switch 2 version. The Switch 2 version will have some exclusive content, but it seems like if you're just somebody who played the original Switch version and want to revisit your island, there'll be plenty more to do, including an entire hotel minigame that is similar to the Happy Home Designer stuff that they've done in the past with the franchise, which was already kind of in that game in a different way, but now expanded. It seems like there's a lot of content here. Having the NES games back is cool. A little throwback to the original Animal Crossing on the GameCube, which also had those games. Um, yeah, the Lego furniture looks fun. Like it just looks like more Animal Crossing for people who love Animal Crossing, and it's about time. Like people have been talking about for 5 years now, um, wanting to jump back into that world, wanting to revisit that. Of course, the interesting thing here is, oh, we're just doing a Mario Kart 8 style free update thing for this and not necessarily a full sequel for Switch 2. Guess so, which means that your dreams for a proper Animal Crossing for Switch 2 will have to wait a little longer.
Whatever the next Animal Crossing title is, it's not this New Horizons Switch 2 edition.
No, no, this will be a little stopgap, but it does seem like to be substantial enough to keep people who love Animal Crossing busy for a long time.
But it also just reassures fans that Animal Crossing is still on their mind and they still plan on
Yeah,
helping that franchise grow.
yeah,
Whether
that's
it's
true.
new updates like this or, like I said, potential new content and new games down the line.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. Speaking of the power of sequels, you played a game.
I did. I played a sequel to a game that I've had a lot of fun with over the years, over the last few years. Power Wash Simulator. But this time it's back with new features, new places to clean, new ways to clean, and a lot of quality of life and like additions that make it even more fun and relaxing to clean. So if you play the original one, you basically know what to expect here. You're cleaning up messes with a power washer. You can do different kinds of nozzles to affect your area of cleaning, different speeds, different like soaps where you can soap up a space before you clean it to make it easier to clean. You're cleaning all sorts of locales such as gas stations and you're cleaning up RV vans and you're cleaning up a entire like shooting range. It's fun stuff, just like the first one, except brand new layer of polish to it. And yeah, like I said, quality of life improvements are the biggest change here. Soap is no longer a currency. You don't have to buy it every time it runs out. It is infinite and you can just have it. So that makes cleaning messes a lot easier than it used to be. You can buy a lot more stuff now with your money that you earn, including cosmetics, like making your character look different, different colors for your cleaning jumpsuit. You can. I'm trying to think what else is new. The thing is that there's not a whole lot actually new beyond the stuff I just mentioned. It's
Right. How can
really
you improve
more of the
on the
same.
original Power Wash?
Exactly. And the answer to that question is by making it even more stress relief. Like it was already a relaxing experience. They've refined the experience so much where it's even more relaxing. One of the most annoying parts about the first game, if there was an annoying part in the first game, is when you were almost done with cleaning something but you only had like a little speck of dirt every once in a while that you couldn't find and you didn't know where it was. You could in the first game you could look at a checklist grid and see, oh, this one says it's 99% done. I need to go find wherever this is and see where that last speck, that 1% I haven't cleaned yet is, and then that'll finish the job. In the sequel, it's made it easier than ever. Now, when you start getting down to the kind of 95% range for the entire map, a little target will appear on an item that you haven't cleaned 100%. So you'll know exactly where to go, which simplifies the process and saves you from having to stare at a checklist and figure out where in the map that item is. So it's even easier to finish things, which means I've been finishing maps at a pretty quick clip. But the good news is that I haven't run out of things yet. The just like the original, there's a lot to clean here. With more promised on the way, there's both paid and free DLC coming. They have a roadmap on their Steam page that kind of gives you an idea of what's to come. And yeah, I have no doubt that since they kept the original one running literally until the end of last year, this one will probably run a lot, like just as long, if not longer. Um, they'll just keep on putting new content in the game. And lastly, if you have friends that want to clean with you, there is co op this time. I believe up to 4 people can clean at the same time on any map. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that was
Yeah.
the one thing they were pushing is the extra co-op.
Yeah. On Steam, by the way, if you own the original one, you get a discount right now for the sequel. I believe that is to the end of November. So it retails normally at $24.99. It ends up being like 21 and change after the discount. So if you own the original one for PC on Steam, go for it. Pick that up.
Yeah, but even at $25 on Steam, that's not that bad.
It's a bargain, especially if you know you're going to be like me and spend a lot of hours cleaning to your heart's content.
Right, especially compared to like the 70, $80 price tag they try to push for AAA games.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, it's not even that even haven't even happened yet, and still feeling weird about it. But yeah, Power Wash Simulator too. It's just as good as the original one, if not better. So check that out.
Yeah. I'm still playing Hades 2,
Hmm.
still playing Digimon Time
Yep. Yep.
Strangers. I'm going
Yep.
like I said, I'm going to play that Sonic Rumble at some point. And if it's exactly what I think it is, it's just gonna be another one of those MOBAs, like the Dragon Ball Z one that just came out, like the Crash one that came out a while ago, like the Pokemon Rumble, like or Pokemon Unite, not Pokemon Rumble, something else. Pokemon Unite
Yeah,
was the one.
that's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that then I feel like okay, I want to understand pretty much what this game is, and but I do expect it to go fast. If it doesn't go fast for me, I'm gonna go bounce right off it.
Yep.
Well, let's move right ahead then, zooming through this podcast into
Yes.
television, where we hit the sports corner.
Whew. Yes.
All right, we're gonna start with the big news of the week. And no, it's not that news. It's Disney has completed its acquisition of a majority stake in Fubo. That's right, Fubo TV. They couldn't get Venue, but they got Fubo. And by majority stake, it's like 42% of Fubo because the other 58% is split up amongst other properties.
I see.
Well, Fubo and Hulu Live TV will each continue to be available on your separate devices. They will be branded individually. There's currently no plan of folding Fubo into Hulu Live TV. This is just Disney making its stake within Fubo
Yep.
because Fubo's got all the sports, including a NFL, which had a trade
Yes.
deadline today. Your franchise player may no longer be on your franchise team, as several players, especially from the Jets, were hawked away for trade picks and drafts down the line. But yeah, the trade deadline is always fun. The NFL trade deadline officially closed as of this recording, but your fantasy football trade deadline is soon approaching because the playoffs are coming. I know what you're thinking. Playoffs? Playoffs?
Playoffs.
I'm just trying to win a game here. Playoffs? That's right. To get a look at playoffs because they're coming soon. We're well, no, we just went through 6 weeks, 5 weeks away from the typical start of your fantasy football playoffs.
It's pretty
All
good.
right, now let's get into the closer. Well, real quick tidbit. In NBA, OKC Thunder are currently undefeated. Brooklyn Nets and the New Orleans Pelicans are currently winless. Both are OKC at 7-0, and Nets and Pelicans 0-7. That's how that works. So you've only played 7 games so far. But because we're at the beginning of the NBA season, the 2025 Emirates NBA Cup has officially begun. Only a handful of teams have already played, but most have not, as that starts yesterday, beginning of November, and will continue through the rest of the month.
Yep.
So good luck. We'll see if your team wins the in-season tournament that they're not calling the in-season tournament anymore.
Right. What do they call it now?
The 2025 Emirates NBA Cup,
Oh, right. Because it's
because
sponsored.
Emirates bought the sponsorship for it.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get to what we've all come here to: lay down our bats, hang up our gloves, put those cleats away, and pay our respects to what was the MLB season, as in 7 agonizing, brutal, but entertaining games,
Yeah.
we have finally crowned a winner.
We sure did.
It was the blue team, not that blue
Yeah.
team. Your Los Angeles Dodgers are back to back World Series champions, conquering the Toronto Blue Jays in 7 games, winning 2 of those in Toronto. All Toronto do had to win one in front of their home crowd
Yep.
out of 2 games, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not too mad. I thought I was going to be really angry. I thought I was going to be really upset. But when it happened, I kind of just accepted it and just let it wash over me. Because I think, unlike last year, these games were good. These games were fun to watch. It was not overwhelming, it was not a big landslide. The Blue Jays fought every single game. They really, really fought. They kept coming back. They really showed off. Their best players were just as good, in some cases better than most of the Dodgers players were. The offense was impressive. Like, there were so many moments of great star power on both teams. So it wasn't that the Dodgers just overwhelmed them. I think that there was a good fight that the Blue Jays put on. However, unfortunately, it's just a fact that Dodgers pitching was better than anybody expected it to be. The narrative going into it was, of course, oh, but what about the Dodgers bullpen? And that was never really a problem, thanks to one guy mostly that kept showing up when his team needed him. Of course, the game's MVP, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It was not,
The off-season pickup for the
yes,
Dodgers.
turns out to be the perfect man for the job, the guy. He was the one who shepherded the Dodgers to winning this thing by pitching shutouts after shutouts, just like nonsense pitches that really switched it up on the Blue Jays offense, and they just couldn't catch up. There were multiple bases loaded situations that the Blue Jays just could not catch in on, which would have turned the tide in a second. One swing of the bat, and it just didn't work out for them. So that's why I'm not really mad. I think the Dodgers proved that they are as good of a team as they need to be. But so are the Blue Jays, and I think it was a valiant effort. But ultimately, Shohei Ohtani again proved himself inevitable. And that combined with the pitching just meant that it was kind of just tied up. It was just going to happen no matter what we did.
I mean, Shohei Ohtani did kind of almost blow it in Game 7 with his pitching,
That is true.
but they were saved through some tremendous defensive plays and
Yes.
to end it on a double play
Yeah.
in extra innings, by the way,
Yes. Yes.
seems very appropriate. And
Yeah.
just Blue Jays so close to letting that ball drop in the
I know.
ninth for that extra run.
But yeah, it will go down as a series that I think a lot of people will remember. It's very memorable, not only because of the people who competed in it, but also some of the crazy things that happened in it. Everyone will remember that ball that get lodged on the bottom of the wall and confused the world, who everyone who hadn't heard of how the ground rule double
The
rule
ground rule
works.
doubles.
I saw so many people on social media be like, "What just happened?" I only was like, oh yeah, I know what's happening because this same thing happened in a game that was like 2 or 3 weeks prior to that.
Mhm.
And I remember even the commentators were like, wait a minute, what? And then they explained it like, no, no, no. If it gets lodged into the wall, that's the same as it hopping the wall because it's out of play. And hopefully this is a good lesson for people to realize, oh, that's one of those weird esoteric baseball rules that rarely comes up, but in this case, it came up at a very, very important moment.
I mean, the only thing was missing was an ejection, and they came very
Yeah, close.
close.
Yes, the benches did clear after. Oh my God, that was another crazy moment because it was like, yeah, don't try to get hit because then you will get hit. And then don't try to start something because you will get hit.
Yes, don't be surprised to get hit when you wanted to get hit, but they didn't want to get
Yeah,
hit, and now you're going to get
right.
hit.
Yeah, turns out.
Yeah,
So
wild
yeah,
series,
it was
wild game. Yeah, like you said, unlike the Dodgers just sweeping last year,
right.
this felt earned by the Dodgers
Yes.
going the distance, all 7 games and extra innings.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah, it makes me sad that baseball is going to be over until a handful of months. Thankfully, the wait is never that long. We just have to wait till late February for spring training. March will be the proper start for both the World Baseball Classic,
Mhm.
as well as the regular season toward the end of the month. Then, like we mentioned last week, there's also a lot of other leagues starting on the outside of MLB if you want baseball and softball action, including the return of the AUSL and the debut season of the Women's Professional Baseball League. So there'll be a lot of baseball coming. You just have to wait a little bit longer for that to happen.
Yeah. We also have baseball hardware coming as MLB awards are
Yes.
being uh, given out. Vladimir Guerrero is no surprise the ALCS MVP award,
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani the NLCS MVP award, and as you mentioned, Yoshinobu Yamamoto earned the World Series MVP. As for the regular season awards, Dodgers veteran Mookie Betts was named the Roberto Clemente Award winner for his help with his charity 50-50.
Yep.
We have the Rookie of the Year awards coming up on November the 10th,
Yep.
which will be next week, as well as the Managerial Awards happening on the 11th, happening next week. Now, unfortunately, there's those are the two awards that will be available by the time we podcast next week.
Right.
as the big awards, your top dogs, your Cy Young and your MVPs won't be happening until the following days on
Yeah.
November the 11th, or sorry, on November the 12th and 13th, respectively.
You have December. Is that a typo for MVP?
Oh, yes, it is not
Okay.
December.
Okay. Just making sure. We don't
Yeah,
have to
December
wait
is for
that
the
long.
Heisman. December is for the Heisman.
Anyways, cool. Looking
And
forward to that.
yep, and that'll do it for baseball until
Yep.
next year. And that'll do it for sports.
All right. Cool. Well, if that's it for sports, we're going to move on into some television news and some television news that revisits Disney, who we just talked about. Not only are they wrapping up their deal with Fubu. No, they didn't buy
Bubba.
Fubu. They bought Fubo, which is different. I never owned any Fubu. Did you own any Fubu in the 2000s? No?
uh, maybe.
Maybe. You may have had some Fubu.
I say maybe because I may have gotten a tie from my dad at one point or from someone.
So,
That was a
okay. All
booba.
right. Yeah, Fubu. Anyways, not only did that happen, but they've also been in the news for another reason. Speaking of cable, digital streaming cable alternatives, YouTube TV and Disney are not getting along. ABC, ESPN, and other Disney networks went dark Thursday night on YouTube TV, leaving 10 million subscribers without access to programming like college football and other major sports. Earlier Friday, Disney Entertainment co-chairs Dana Walden and Alan Bergman accused YouTube TV of trying to, quote, eliminate competition and devalue the very content that helped them build their service. A YouTube executive said that Disney was not being reasonable to expect steep carriage fee increases, despite the fact that many of the networks have seen flat-ish viewing, that's according to the executive, in recent years on YouTube TV. Of course, you're probably thinking, well, duh, they just bought their own version of the service. They don't need to play ball with YouTube anymore, which is, of course, why they raised the fees. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the case for all of their similar services that Disney's networks are on. They have the right now that they own their like another one of their own. They feel like they're like, oh well, we can raise this money for everybody and make everybody pay us, so we make more money across the board.
And it all depends on when these contracts expire. Because if you
Yeah.
remember, last year, ESPN was blacked out for Spectrum users
Yes. Yes.
because that deal was not reached prior to the start of the college football season. Well, it wasn't for week 0, and then it was before week 1, which is also
Right.
the start of the NFL season, which is why
Yeah.
they had to make a deal.
I imagine something similar happens here. They want to make a deal as soon as possible for those important college games that are coming up. And the holiday season. I think that there's going to be a rush over there for them to make a deal. It sucks though. Let's be real here though. It sucks when this happens because it's basically just two companies whining over money is what it is, and it affects people who just want to watch their sports, and that sucks that we're collateral damage every time that they have these whining matches.
Right. And I know we're talking about sports here because ESPN and ABC,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
the big
all
players.
Disney channels, Disney networks, like your Disney XD, your ABC, your Freeforms, your National Geographics,
Yeah, etc., etc.
etc., etc. Everything owned by Disney. You will see if you have YouTube TV a big old block sign that says, "Fortunately, we cannot
Yeah.
provide you this as we are currently in a contract dispute. Please yell at Disney and give us a better deal."
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens with this. Usually, like you said, these get resolved sooner than later. But yeah, well, for now though, just a little PSA for YouTube TV members out there.
Correct.
All
All
right.
right.
You watched a television show.
Yes, I did. Physical 100 is back on Netflix,
Uh-huh.
but they're going semi-global this time.
Okay.
And I mean semi-global because it's not 100 people competing, it is countries competing against each other. It is Physical Asia, where there are not individually competing, you're competing as a team in group events. Uh,
See.
these come out every Tuesday, which is I was able to talk about it last week. So the new episodes are up now as of this recording. It will run through the end of November. And if you like Physical 100, but you missed the team aspect of it, well, here you go. Physical Asia. But be warned, because they do everything in teams and you go through everybody on that team, it does feel like it gets quite long to get to the actual competition parts. And then when they're doing the competition parts, because they're head-to-head matches of these 8 teams, that you have to wait for that match to complete. And this is the same thing for this match to compete. This is the same thing for this match to compete. And so it feels like you see watching the same kind of competition over and over again because they have to reset everything in order to make it fair for this competition. Unlike with Physical 100, where they throw them all into the exact same competition and wait for them to fall one by one. So they only have to run it one time. They only have to set everything multiple times. Here they do, so it can feel like each production set takes that much longer for it to come to a conclusion. Other than that, it's amazing what these people can do. It's amazing the bodies that they have, and just the physical strength and brutality that the human condition can uphold. So
Mhm.
yeah, Physical Asia out on Netflix.
Cool. It sounds like more of the stuff you liked about Physical 100,
Oh
just
yeah, it's
like
exactly what I
on a
like. But
bigger
yeah, like I said, just
stage.
warning there.
Yeah.
It feels like it can be a bit long in those first several episodes because they're trying
Yeah.
to build the narrative around everyone.
It sounds like almost like the Physical 100 version of the group stage in American Idol.
Yeah, but they did that, remember? Building the band.
That's true. They did do that. They made a whole show on that idea. Yeah, well, cool. I'm glad. Because yeah, you really liked Physical 100.
Yes, but not enough to put on my top fives though.
That's true. But hey, maybe that'll change this year.
Maybe that'll change. We'll see. We're getting closer.
That's true. One thing I probably will not be seeing on my top five, but then again, I didn't really have high expectations for anyways, is the show that I watched. So far, just the pilot is up, but I watched it. This is I Love LA. This is on HBO
I
and
love
HBO
it.
Max. Exactly. Good timing with the Dodgers' big win that we see an LA centric show debut on HBO Max. So this is the brainchild and starring vehicle of Rachel Sennett. You may have seen her as kind of a socialite over the last couple of years, after being just kind of a stand-up and comic actress. She started hanging out with Charlie XCX and a bunch of other high-profile people, and all of a sudden she's everywhere. But she's also making a deal with HBO for a comedy series. And yes, before you say anything, I'm very aware that the parallels between this and Girls are really hard to ignore. This is basically about a decade, oh, almost 15 years later now, than Girls, but it's similarly a vehicle about a 20 something, about a 20 something friend group. This time, swap New York for LA, swap Lena Dunham for Rachel Sennett, and you basically know the gist of what's happening. Um, so far, the setup is that some estranged friends are back together due to random mishaps and must deal with each other being in the same room, same place again. And of course, there's bitterness and some back and forth arguments, as you would imagine for girls in their 20s. But the show really wants you to believe that Los Angeles is also a character here. But unlike the New York City of Girls, instead of being just the setting, I Love LA, contrary to the title, seems to use it as a punching bag most of the time. It seems like there's a recurring theme of jokes about LA stereotypes, about influencer types, about Erewhon, about spirit guides, the typical LA stereotype stuff, and it just feels a little dated. Which is weird considering that Rachel Sennett, a born in 1995, is of the Gen Z, and you would think would bring kind of a little bit of a younger kind of energy to this. Not the case. So you might remember that she's also the writer behind Bottoms, the queer comedy that came out a few years ago, to I would say some success and some notoriety. I also wasn't that impressed with Bottoms, so I'm just starting to think that maybe I just don't think that Rachel Sennett is that great of a writer. Um, she's not that charming in this either. I think that she's a little smarmy and a little slimy. I think everybody is in this show. And yes, just like girls, that might mean it's a little bit of a barrier of entry for a lot of people. These people aren't super likable quite yet. Um, but like I said, just the pilot. I don't know what will happen next. But it feels to me like a show that should like feels like it wants to be a satire, but at the same time isn't cutting enough because these characters are just all kind of stereotypes. And so it does something just not working for me in this thing. So yeah, I don't know if I'll stick around for more episodes or not. I just didn't think it was funny.
Feels like it's out there. It feels like it's punching down a lot.
Not even punching down. It is definitely punching at that kind of LA stereotype culture, but I feel like we're beyond it. In
Mhm.
a lot of ways, we're kind of, I feel like as a culture, LA is kind of having a moment, like between the push against the ICE raids over the last few months, over, recent, prominent, political stories. It just feels like LA was so close to having this cultural renaissance of sorts in the broader view after being a punchline for about a decade and a half. And I think that this kind of feels like a relic of a previous time. Like, isn't it so like the Californian sketch on SNL almost, where it's like, isn't it funny that people from LA like worship celebrities in this way and like everybody's trying to be famous and stuff? Isn't that funny? I felt like we had gotten past that. The LA another thing, and I saw this as commentary on social media before I even watched this, where somebody was saying like it doesn't actually reflect what LA really is in a lot of ways. It's this like Hollywood version of LA. It's not necessarily the LA where, it's a broad spectrum of cultures and identities and a share of like ideas and like, the actual one that we live near. It doesn't feel like that LA. It feels like we're getting this manufactured version of LA. And yes, I realize it's about characters who are interacting directly with these Instagram influencers. So it kind of has to be just by the nature of that subject matter about these things. But it definitely makes me feel like Rachel Sennett is a little separated now from the actual stories of interest in LA and seems like she's dwelling on things that don't matter as much. I don't know. It's an interesting idea for a show, but I just don't think it works.
I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, it's only been the pilot, so maybe they'll find its
Yeah,
footing in a couple episodes.
maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
All right.
But
That's
that's
it
on
for
HBO
thoughts
Max,
then.
and
Yep,
that
that's on
is
HBO.
new, freshly
Yes,
newly made.
brand new this week. But yeah, if there's not any other television to talk about, we can move on.
Yep, let's get into cancellations and renewals.
Yes, cancellations and renewals.
What am I
There's
no
the line.
longer watching?
There you go. You said the line. All right. First up, BMF, whatever that stands for. Use your imagination. Has been canceled after 4 seasons on Stars.
Believe this was the Curtis 50 Cent Jackson show on Stars.
Another one.
The other one.
Yeah, not Power.
Yes, the other one, not
Got it.
another one.
The King of the Hill reboot has gotten 2 additional seasons that will
Mhm.
move to a total, including the original run, of 17 seasons.
Yes, and both of those seasons will still be 10 episodes each. So 20 episode order officially.
Yep. And then lastly, FX will be bringing back Adults, the television show, sorry, for a second season.
Hey, speaking of
Um, yeah,
young 20 somethings living in New York,
yeah, makes you think.
I feel like
Um,
that they waited the 90 days to officially renew this before they officially canceled it.
yeah,
Like, okay, well, I guess we don't have anything else. We'll bring you back.
yeah,
Because this
might
thing
as
came out
well.
in the middle of the summer and no one talking about it.
No, no one that I know. That's for sure. All right. And then we do have one death. Yeah, Dick Cheney died today. You know, kind of one of the reasons why we're here. Let's move on.
You mean like in this
Like
current
broadly,
environment?
like broadly, like
He's not your father. You're not why you're here.
not like why we're here, why we're here. Broad gestures broadly in this
Broadly gestures to the
miasma.
political environment, the current
Exactly.
environment around
Yeah.
political, social, economical, financial. Pick one. He had a hand in it.
Yikes.
Not necessarily a
All
good
right.
hand, but a hand in it.
Yeah. It's this is sometimes a shaky hand when it came to aiming guns. Let's move on to the movie section, our last section of the show today, where we always start with the weekend box office numbers. I'm just gonna chill out here with a cold drink because I got it right.
Wait, now did you? I don't remember. I may have. I don't know if you went over or under. I
I
don't have it
went
says plus,
under.
but I may have gotten that wrong.
No, I went under 13 because I was like, no, there's definitely like, I feel like even fewer people that care about going to movies this weekend. And I was right. Everybody was too
Yeah.
busy doing Halloween things and or watching the World Series. So the numbers were down. So yes, that under
Also, lack
$13
of new
million dollar
release.
turned out that nobody really cared. Black Phone 2 did hold over for number one, this time only making $8.3 million. So that's at 61 total domestic.
Mhm.
Number two, Regretting You regrets its performance as it only made $7.8 million. That's at 27. Number three, Chainsaw Man, the movie Res Arc did stick around, but only to the tune of $6.2 million. That's wrong because I know that that's more
Yes,
than
I've
that
seen
domestic
that
total.
wrong now. Yes.
Number four, another theatrical re-release of K-pop Demon Hunters that occurred over the weekend made that movie another $5.3 million. So that continues to make money. That's at 24. Not, of course, including how many people have seen it on streaming. And rounding out your top five, Begonia, $5 million this week, and I guess a slightly wider release this weekend.
Yes.
So yeah, that's at six total. So yeah, I was right. I got that 8.3 number right under that 13.
All
As
right.
for
That
this coming up weekend, this should be an easy one because we have two films that are going to not really split your audience. You have Nuremberg, based, of course, on the post World War II trial that, of course, is a real thing that happened.
yes.
And then something that's definitely not a real thing that happened, Predator Badlands, which is the first PG-13 rated Predator movie.
Shocking, isn't it?
I know, shocking.
No. There should be more blood in it for an R-rated movie.
So
But yeah,
yeah,
Nuremberg, your historical drama. I believe
sure.
it's starring Russell Crowe in the lead
Okay.
role. And then yeah, Predator Badlands sequel technically to Prey because that was a
Okay.
movie everyone remembers.
Yeah, yeah. People do. That was a television or a Hulu thing, right?
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So I would assume Predator is going to get
Yeah.
the number one here.
Predator's your number one. We just need to pick a number for it. So if this past weekend was only eight, but I would imagine more people will be seeing the movies this weekend, then that number is going to go up. But how high?
Well, we did 13 last week, so how about we want to double it to 26, 25?
I think 25 is fair. I think we could
All
do
right,
25.
we can do
And
25 then.
I'll let you pick first, over or under this week.
Well, seeing I thought I went under last week, I'll go under this week.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So if Predator Badlands makes more than $25 million, I will win unless you will win. For
All right,
that next week. All right.
we'll find out.
Let's wrap up with some movie news where we revisit Netflix and what Netflix is doing behind the scenes right now. Well, they've hired Moelis & Co., the investment bank that advised Skydance Media on its successful bid for Paramount Global, to evaluate a prospective offer for Warner Brothers Discovery, which we mentioned as of last week was on the selling block. Netflix has also been granted access to the data room, which contains the financial details needed to make a bid. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos indicated Netflix would not be interested in acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery's cable television networks, though, including CNN, TNT, Food Network, and Animal Planet, meaning that those would likely be auctioned or would stay a separate subsidiary of whatever remaining company is left behind.
which definitely explains the split that happened over at Warner
Yes.
Brothers, putting them
And I think
back
Warner
in
knew
Warner
that, like we
Brothers
talked
and
about last
Discovery.
week. Yeah, like we talked about last week, that was kind of a like them hedging their bets. Like, oh, just
Mhm.
in case somebody doesn't want the whole enchilada, we're gonna split these things in two. And yeah, Netflix, of course, isn't interested in running cable channels. Like they have no interest in doing that. It's not their business model. But everything else is IP and a movie studio and theatrical distribution and all the stuff that they could actually use to become even more powerful in the entertainment industry.
Right. And with Warner Brothers, not only do they get the backlog and catalog of into everything that is Warner Brothers, they would also get everything from HBO Max
Yeah.
as well. All
Yeah.
their properties. And what happens to HBO Max if this goes through?
I would imagine it just gets rolled into Netflix. I can't imagine they want to run two services, especially if there's no reason for them to do so.
Especially for the server space and if they're both going to be
Right.
doing the same thing
Yeah,
over and
it
over
makes more
again.
sense.
Yep.
So, of course, like we talked about last week, this is never a good thing. We don't want corporate acquisitions, especially for a company as storied and legendary as Warner Brothers. But if it's going to happen, and it looks like right now in this political climate, it will more likely happen than won't happen. If it does happen, I'd rather Netflix than Paramount Skydance. It does seem like Netflix, although this would be a kind of new frontier for them, they are not used to owning their own IP like this. But if they did, I think they would be a better shepherd of said IP than Paramount would. I think they'd be more open to creators. They're known as a pretty creator friendly company, generally speaking, besides maybe terminating season deals sooner than fans want them to be terminated. They are known for trying, experimental things a little bit more than some of the other entertainment companies out there. K-pop Demon Hunters is a great example of this. They took a chance on something that other studios turned down and it ended up being a huge success for them. So Netflix is not the worst possible option. I think if you're talking about potential suitors for Warner. But like, yeah, is it better than Warner like being independent still? I don't know. And that's going to be a question that's ultimately a moot point because, like I said, this is probably going to happen in one way or another. And we just got to cross our fingers that it's the least evil possibility that happens.
Right. It's what they're getting with the Warner Brothers deal is Warner Brothers IP, the catalog, and the lot. This would mean that that new Harry Potter series coming out under Warner Brothers banner
Right. Could be a
could be
Netflix thing.
shifting to a
Yeah.
Netflix thing, depending on
Yeah.
when this goes through,
Yeah.
depending on how long they want to keep HBO Max up and
Yeah.
running, assuming they're the ones who win out this bid, of course. They are one
Right.
of
Yeah. Assuming.
three suitors chasing at vying after Warner Brothers Discovery. And based on the Ted Sarandos' comments, the film portion, not necessarily the TV
Mhm.
portion.
Yeah. Yeah. You could even see a version of this where those channels go to a different one of those suitors if they like settle. Maybe Paramount Skydance gets the cable channels and wraps them up into their existing cable enterprise, and then suddenly you have CNN on the same side as CBS, and it's all very strange. I really hope that doesn't happen because then we'd be losing
You just put
another.
that out into the world.
I did, but it could happen is the scary thing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how how this goes. We still got a lot of time, I think, until a decision is made here, because these things do take their time.
That they do. And if they get sold by the end of the year, could be our story of the year.
Maybe we'll see.
Don't want it to be. I have something else that's in
Yeah,
mind that also related to Skydance Media.
yeah,
Skydance
right. Like that, I think in
Paramount.
itself is going to be something we'll have to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you
All right.
can we'll figure out the end of the year stuff next month.
Next time. But in the meantime, you watched a movie? Question mark.
Yes, I watched the movie. Uh Based on one, your recommendation. Two, I was supposed to watch it before last week's
Yeah.
podcast.
Right.
But I finally got around to watching it thanks to renting it directly from my home. I
Yep.
was like, okay, I'll do this. The Naked Gun,
Yes.
2025 edition.
Right.
Um, Watched this with my doctor,
Uh-huh.
who did not know anything about the Naked Gun or the Naked Gun franchise.
Right.
5 minutes. That's all it took to sell her on sticking around
Yeah.
and on watching this
Okay.
through.
Good.
Besides just the idea that it's created by one of the guys from Lonely Island, it's a comedy, and it stars Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And she was on board after that first opening sequence. She's like, okay, I'm in this ride. I want to see where this goes. Not
Yeah.
knowing anything about it, the comedy, the humor, the stuff, little stuff I groaned at because it's like, oh, they're just ripping off of this,
I
but
mean,
stuff that she laughed at, she's like, oh, I get it because it's like this.
right. Yeah.
Most obvious one being the Austin Powers reference with the heat vision.
Yeah.
Very obvious parody, but also not really a parody, but more of an homage to it.
Hmm.
And you have that fine line, especially in the comedy between a parody and homage.
Yep.
But overall, we had a fun time watching it. I think the plot device was a little too on the nose for me
I mean,
because I thought I was
yeah.
going to go steer more into like the 21 Jump Street comedy, and didn't quite go all the way there with it.
No.
Although I feel like it could have.
It's a movie that's so goofy that you kind of forget that it has a plot at some point and you just let it take you away. That's at
Yes.
least how I treated it. I was like, I don't think it's even meant to be followed. I think you're just supposed to be like, this is just a framing device for all of these jokes.
Oh, it is. I mean, I was waiting for someone to bring up the fact that the entire plot of the evil people, the evil organization, is the same one from the Kingsman, the
Yeah.
exact same formula. No one did. I was like, but that's exactly what it is. Beat
Yeah.
for beat. Just whip out a copy and say, you stole it from this. I
But
knew I've
no, it
seen this
doesn't need.
before.
Yeah, it doesn't need to do that. Instead, it just yeah, just borrows from all sorts of other action franchises the whole time.
Yeah. But we had a good time watching it. It was very fun, very
Good.
entertaining. Um, I think it definitely deserves the high rating that it's getting. I wish more people do end up watching it.
Yeah.
Don't know if it'll end up on my end of the year list, but it
Yeah,
is something that I
it's
would be comfortable recommending to other people, though.
yeah, that's how I feel ultimately. Like I mentioned when I said I watched it, is I did have a really good time with it, and I thought that there were certain sequences in that thing that were really, really funny. But yeah, you're right. I don't know if it's top five material quite really. I don't know. Like it's teetering, I think. I'm gonna have to really think about where I land with movies this year because there's also some that I haven't even seen yet that I think that might end up there. I just gotta go out and see them. So yeah.
But it also
Oh
movies that
yeah.
haven't come out yet that we haven't seen. That'll
Speaking of
probably end
speaking of
up there.
which, one of those that we might talk about next week. At least Christy and I are going to plan on watching this Friday. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein will be up on HBO Max.
Mhm.
So, or Netflix. Sorry,
Netflix.
Netflix. On Friday. So we will hopefully be able to talk about that on Tuesday.
Yes, that'll be next week's episode.
Yep. But all right. Well, if that's it, then I guess we can wrap this episode up and we can look forward to next week and all the fun stuff we'll talk about then.
Mhm.
So thank you for joining us at the Media Boat Podcast. We'll be back next week for another episode. In the meantime, if you want to see the video versions of this podcast, you can do so on YouTube. Just search YouTube for Media Boat Podcast. You can like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications for when new videos go live. You can also find us on podcast services in your ear holes if you search Media Boat Podcast on the podcast app of your choice. You can also find us on the internet. MediaBoatPodcast.com is our website. Blue Sky, you can find us at mediaboat.bsky.social. You can also find us on twitch.tv/mediaboat, where Mike occasionally plays video games. And last but certainly not least, if you have questions, comments, feedback about the show, we will read those emails that you email to us if you email us at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. Email. All
All
right,
right.
that's it.
That'll do it for us on this edition. Like I said, we'll be back next week with Frankenstein,
Yeah,
the
Frankenstein
doctor, and the monster.
yeah, Frankenstein unbeatable. What else? Probably more that I'm not thinking of right now. So yeah, look forward to it.
Yep. We'll be back with more news, more thoughts, and more of us.
See you then.
Okay, bye.